Attention, please. Attention, please. I can deal with this trouble, friend, with a wave of my hand, this very hand. Please observe me, if you will. I'm Professor Harold Hill, and I'm here to organize the River City Boys Band. Rat-a-tat-tat. Now listen, my friends, how could any pool table ever hope to compete with a gold trombone? Rah-rah-rah-da-da-da-da-rah-rah.
Mike Shore with JTV. We are at the beautiful Croswell Opera House in downtown Adrian, where for the next 3 weekends, the Broadway musical The Music Man is going to be on stage here. And we came into town early, and we've been all through the theater looking for 76 trombones to lead the big parade, but we weren't able to find them. But we did find Eric Parker, who is the lead as Professor Harold Hill in the production. Welcome, Eric.
Hi, Mike. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, and I know that you were on the Bart Hawley Show live today.
It's true.
But we both know how that went because you were there and I watched it. So we'll have this fixed in the edit room. All right.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
Perfect.
Well, this is not new for you. You have been at the Croswell many times, haven't you?
It is true. I have. I kind of grew up here. Started when I was a kid. Went off and lived in New York and Chicago, and now I'm back. Doing family stuff, managing the bar down the hall, and playing the Music Man.
So, like it or not, this is your life.
This is my life, and that's all right. It's a good life to have, better than many.
And so you started doing this as a kid. Can you remember what your first actual paid acting role was?
My first actual paid acting role was to play Harry the Horse in a production of Guys and Dolls, directed by Betsy Lackey.
Harry the Horse?
Harry the Horse.
Wait, which end of the horse were you?
No. He's a gangster. There's no horse.
I've had people talk about their kid plays where their kid was in the play and they were the front or the back of the horse. So
nice.
I had to
know
get that
Gypsy
in.
has one of those. I don't know about any other shows, but
Well, what are some of your more memorable roles? I know that last year you were here as P.T. Barnum, but what are some of the other memorable roles here at the Croswell Opera House?
Well, I've been very fortunate to play a lot of interesting things. I did Jean Valjean in Les Mis, Riff Raff in the Rocky Horror Show, Jerry in the Full Monty. Oh my God, I can't even think of them. Jesus and Jesus Christ Superstar.
Well,
many pounds ago.
Now that you hit that one, now I've got to ask you, which one is most like you in real life?
Probably,
and don't say the last one.
Probably the guy in the Full Monty, I think.
Okay.
But but that show is also a contemporary kind of down to earth, story about guys just living their lives.
So that felt more like the real Eric Parker in that role.
Probably. The guy in Big Fish is a lot more stylized, but he has a lot of. I won't say they're similar at all, really, but it's also a guy living his life and trying to deal with his by telling fanciful stories to his kid, But that's also a good one that's close to my heart.
Well, Professor Harold Hill is a scam artist. He comes into town, if people remember the story. I'm old enough to remember the real production back in the 60s with Robert Preston.
Right.
Not everyone can say they saw it as a first run. You might have seen it on Throwback TV or something. But.
That's true. I've actually never seen the movie, but I've done the show a couple times in the quartet, barbershop quartet that appears. But I love this show. I love what it says, especially to a contemporary audience, what it says about transformations, about how you can, I think what we're trying to push a little bit in this show, where we're doing The Music Man, it's an old traditional favorite, but I think what it says about, the choices one makes in life. I think because I'm maybe a little bit older to play Harold Hill, I look at myself. I'm an actor. I've been rather itinerant, and I think Harold Hill is itinerant. I mean, he goes into towns and rips them off and leaves on the very next train. But he falls in love here. And he makes a choice that what this is what I want to do. I'm in love with this librarian, and spoiler alert, sorry. And but I think it's all about choices and about change. And what he does to the town, how. He helps them transform into a more fun-loving place, and how they help him, transform into a more grounded, down-to-earth, likable human being, at the end.
Well, he is an incorrigible scam artist, and I can't help but I say this in a complimentary way. Actors are scam artists.
Well, yeah.
Your whole purpose is to make us believe that you're someone else and buy into that.
It's true. We lie for a living, so that's all right.
And if you're good at it, we buy into it.
Yes,
Yeah.
and hopefully that works with this one. So
Well, I can't help but recall the fact that, okay, you played P.T. Barnum last year. Now you're playing Professor Harold Hill. Those are roles that Hugh Jackman has mastered. So are you the Hugh Jackman of Adrian?
no, I am not.
But those are two that he has
It's true.
he's taken on.
It's true, but no, I other than a couple of his Wolverine movies, I haven't seen a lot that Hugh Jackman has done. So, but he's a very talented man, as far as I know. But
And this is a large cast. I think you mentioned that today on the Bart Hawley show. This fills the stage.
we're in the 50s. We had a lot of people on the stage, a lot of buildings, a lot of costumes. A lot of orchestra, a lot of good old-fashioned musical comedy stuff is in this show, and it's just a nice evening at the theater, I think.
How many trombones? If there's only 50 people, you can't have 76 trombones.
I haven't counted. How many trombones do we have, Eric? 4 or 5. But it looks like 76 because you want to believe it.
That's the illusion. That's what
Yeah,
you have to.
we have a lot of young kids getting their first taste of theater in this show too. So that's nice seeing generations change. As people, kids in the area become enamored with doing this. I think hopefully they get the theater bug and they stick with it. But yeah, 4 or 5 trombones, some clarinets, some flutes. How many
kid's
got a tuba? So
How many cornets?
well, there are not hundreds, there are not thousands. We got a couple.
You got a couple.
Mother of pearl keys. Mother of pearl keys.
That's part of the illusion of the stage. You have to create the impression that there's
Absolutely. We
more
have
going
so
on.
many people on stage that when that band comes up, it overflows. It's filled to overflowing.
Well, Eric, thank you for taking time to talk with us today. Again, here at the Croswell Opera House, the next 3 weekends here in June, on Friday, Saturday, and Sundays. And I think the last weekend there's a Thursday night performance also.
true.
And as they say, right here in River City, capital T,
Rhymes with P.
P, and that stands for Professor Parker, alias Professor Harold Hill. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, sir.
My someone, good night, my love. Sleep tight, my someone. Sleep tight, my love. Our star is shining, it's bright as light. For good night, my love. For good night.
We have another lead in the show here at the Croswell Opera House, the Broadway production Music Man. We have Hannah Sparrow, who plays the female lead, Marion the librarian. Welcome, Hannah.
Thank you.
And you are a little bit newer. We were talking to Eric earlier, and Eric has been a mainstay here at the Croswell. So how about your history a little bit with the Croswell and going back even to your beginning into the art of stage and theater?
Yeah, so this is my second season with the Croswell, and last year I was Maria in West Side Story in concert, so that was my first big role here, and I was in She Loves Me last year, and then I was just in Once, where we played all of our instruments on stage, and now I'm here as Marion the librarian, and I've loved theater, did theater in high school, took a break for a while I was in college, but glad to be back at it, so.
And college, we heard today on the Bart Hawley show, was?
I went to the University of Michigan, Go Blue.
Have to get that plug in again here
Yes.
since we're that close.
Yes, absolutely.
So what actually started your bug when you were young? What brought you to the realization that the stage is something that you just wanted to do?
So I was raised in a family of musicians. Both my mother and father were professional musicians, and I'm the only person who can sing in my family. So as I got older, I started joining choirs and then got more involved in the stage when I was actually in 5th grade in a production of The Music Man, where I played Amaryllis, the little piano player, and that's when it really hit me, and I did shows all through high school, and yeah, just glad to be back.
And you said your family had a musical background. Now, was that something with professional, or were there efforts just in community theater and things like that also?
So they're not theater people, actually, but my mother is a professional musician in the Detroit Symphony, so I grew up around that and just encouraged to foster the talent into something that would be productive, and I found this, so.
And are either of them vocal performers, singers? Because I always wondered whether that was genetic or trained, because no one in my family can sing. I can't sing. There's no musical talent at all in our family.
Sure, so there's a line in the show that says, singing is only sustained talking, so I believe anybody can sing, so.
Well, you haven't heard me.
That's true.
Now, again, you're playing opposite Eric, who is very comfortable on this stage. And it is a rather small venue, a very, very quaint venue, beautiful theater. But what is your experience, again, on playing with so many people crammed in such a small space?
I mean, I think it's been great. It's a lot of moving parts, especially with the scenery, and we have a lot of big set pieces. And but I think that everybody's doing their part. That's the best thing about theater here, is that everybody works as a team. It really feels like a team effort to get the show going, and working with Eric has been great. I mean, most of our scenes are together, just the two of us on stage, so we don't necessarily have to have the crowd of masses, but when they are together, it really feels like a team effort.
All right. And opening night is Friday night, so I think you're still doing some dress rehearsals and things. Is there anything special about opening night, that once you get those jitters behind you, the Saturday, the Sunday, the next performances go easier? What is there about that opening night that makes it special?
I think just because it's the first time that we're sharing this story with the audience, and it's such a classic story. It's the Great American Musical, and it's nice to have the applause and have the reaction be positive, so that we know that we're going to have a really great run.
So no, just again a little extra pressure, but that's part of the excitement, I assume.
Yeah, exactly.
I've never had an opening night on stage. Like others, I've had opportunities to make presentations and things. There's always that little bit of jitters, but once you get started, you just fall into the role, I assume.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything else falls away. So.
Well, Hannah, thank you for taking the time to see us today, and we'll be down here on Friday night to see the opening performance.
Perfect.
Thank you.